This is an introduction to Logic Pro X Getting Started for Beginner video. In this video, I will cover the real basics that you need in order for you to get started in Logic Pro X. I will start by opening the program for the first time and go through some of the basic functions to get you ready to start recording your first audio or MIDI track. If you are looking for more Logic Pro X tutorials ranging from beginner all the way through to advanced, then go to my channel and find a playlist called Logic Pro X Tutorials. I add to this playlist weekly, so please like, subscribe and press the bell to be notified when a new video is being uploaded. Once Logic Pro is installed, you will find it in the Applications folder. If you go to L for Logic, and then we open that there. Once Logic is opened, you go to File and select New. This will allow you to choose a project. Now you can either do a new project, or you could do a recent one, or you can do a starter grid, which is basically a demo project that is already built into Logic that you can open up and have a look at. If you see an arrow on that, it will mean that you have to download the content. Then you've got tutorials, which they will be quite interesting for you to look at once you get going a little bit. Then you've got demo projects. You can actually go online and download demo projects to put in there. And again, it's for you to look at and see what other people have done within Logic. And then you've got project templates. These are quick start projects that are already set up with a number of instruments and a number of sounds that you can start with in the style that you want it. So hip hop or electronic, or this one sets you up with a record channel. If you look down below here, it tells you exactly what it's going to do for you. So I personally don't use them, but as a beginner, try them out and see if that works for you. If not, set it up yourself. My templates is where you would have your own templates that you might want to save for certain things. And then we go down below here and we have details. This is where you can set the tempo, the key signature, the time signature, your audio input and output settings, your sample rate, your frame rate, and your surround format. These, just leave them as is, but you can change those to how you want. And then below here, you can open an existing project. If it's not in your recents, you can find that here. But for this video, I'm going to start a new project and I'm going to just select the standard settings there. So before you can get started, you need to select a track. And that can be a software instrument, which is basically an internal MIDI instrument. You can do an audio track. So say, for instance, you might want to record your vocal, or you might want to grab one of your loops and drop it into the arrangement. You can select drummer, which are internal drummers that are within Logic, which is very powerful and very interesting to check out. Then you've got external MIDI, so you might have an external keyboard that you want to control from your computer to the external keyboard by MIDI. And then you've got guitar and bass, and that's basically set up for you to record a guitar and bass that will have an amp on it, and you can just record that straight into that. But it's similar to your audio because it will create an audio channel. So I will select a software instrument to get us going, and I will make sure that this is unchecked, which I usually have on, but for this video, I'll leave it unchecked. That will create your first track, which is an instrument track in your arrangement. If you have used GarageBand, then these icons down here will look very familiar. But we're going to set up Logic properly, so we're going to go to Logic Preferences and select General, and then we will go to Advanced and we'll set Show Advanced Tools. So now let's go through some of the icons. So this one here is your library icon. This allows you to find library sounds or library settings for whatever track you have selected. So in this particular case, I've got an audio instrument. So if I wanted an audio instrument to be a piano, I would click on that. And then if I play on my keyboard, that will be a piano. But if I was to create another channel and I'd say, well, I want an audio track, then your presets here automatically change. So now you could have an EQ. So you might have a guitar recorded in here and you want a guitar EQ. So you can go, okay, well, I want say a sharp chorus. And then that track will be EQ'd already as a preset EQ for a sharp chorus sound on your guitar. When you're experimenting, it's very good to go through these and get an idea of what's available so you can get a good understanding of how to create some good EQs, and if you go back to your instrument channel, what type of sounds there are available. Then the next icon we've got is Inspector, and this will show you what that track or that channel has been made up of. So if you select the Bosendorfer piano, it will show you a sampler with the piano sounds in it. It's got an EQ on it, and then you have a compressor, and you have a tape delay, and you have bus sends that you've got here. What you can also do there is you can turn your volume up and down, you can pan it left and right, or you can mute and solo. which you can do that as well on the main channel up here, mute and solo, volume back to 0 and pan back to 0. So you can do that there as well. Then when you go to the left, there's a lot of different parameters that you can set on that channel. So once you select the regions that you're going to be recording, you can then individually affect each region in a different way, but that becomes a little bit more advanced. So we won't go into that for now. Then the next icon is pretty self-explanatory. It's a help. So wherever you hover, it will tell you exactly what the function of that is and what it does. It will give you a quick breakdown of the functionality of that particular item that you're hovering over, which can be quite useful for you as a starter. So for now, I'm going to switch that off, and then I'm going to pull down this, and this basically will show you your toolbar. And these are again some more functionalities that you've got on your regions and what you've recorded. So again, this is more advanced. I won't go into that. Then the next icon you've got here is smart controls, and that can change the sound of the piano. You can do some delay stuff inside the piano. You can change the delay. You can go to EQ. You can do quite a few things. You can, of course, also go down onto the actual channel strip here, and you could say, well, I want to change the EQ of that in there, and you can just do that. Or look at the compressor. By clicking on it once, the plugins will come up. Same for the sampler, which will show you your classical piano. Your next icon is your mixer icon, and this will open up your mixer. So the more channels you have, the more you will see in here, and you can basically individually adjust anything you want on those. So if I had 5 or 6 channels, it's a good way for me to get a nice EQ or a balance or a panning happening all at the same time without individually doing them up here. And the next icon is your editor window. And because I'm on a MIDI instrument, this will allow me to see the keyboard to draw in certain notes. So if I start playing in some notes, that will play those notes on that piano. You can also program by opening the keyboard, which is show keyboard, which is probably quite difficult to program on. And then you also have your musical typing from your keyboard. So ASD. You can also adjust the ends of those notes and the starts, and you can also highlight them and turn them up and down, louder and quieter, and you can move the placings of them quite easily as well, and different notes. And then we get to what's called the transport bar, which basically allows you to forwards, backwards, play, stop, record, cycle, not cycle. This will tell you the bars and the beats, the tempo, and the other things that you set up, which were your time signatures and your key signature. And if you then move across to this drop down, you'll be able to set your transport bar up the way you want. What do you want to see from it? Time, beats, beats and time, large, project and time. I go for custom, because it allows me to see the CPU in HD. So if you double click on either of those, you can see what kind of performance your track is running at in your CPU usage and your hard drive usage, which that's quite important. And then we get to this icon, and that basically means if I was recording on this piano part and I went into record at this point here, what does it do with the information underneath it? Does it go over top of it? Does it remove it? Does it add to it? That's what that button does. And then this next one is grayed out, and that's because we need to be on an audio channel for us to use it. And then when we switch it on, we can see it is a tuner. So you can check if the tuning of that audio is in tune or not. So this is very useful if you're trying to tune your guitar. You can do that and look at this and get it in tune using this. It doesn't tune your guitar, but it tells you if you are in tune or not. And then we go on to the next icon, which is S. So if we click that, that will solo whatever regions we've got highlighted. This icon will set your count in. So if you click and hold it, you can set how long you want your count in to be. So if you press record, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if it's 2 bars, it will be 8 counts, etc., etc. And then this will toggle it off or on. And again, if you click and hold, there's more options there as well. And then we get to the master fader here, which you should always keep at 0. Then if we go to the right here, we've got a list editor, and this has got multiple functions, which I won't go into right now. Next, there's a project notepad and a track notepad, so you can make notes on specific things in your track or your project. And then the next one here, this is what's called Apple loops, and you get a lot of Apple loops that come with the program. The great thing with Apple loops is you can audition them very quickly, you can sort them very easily, and also They are in time with your Logic project, so they automatically sit in time, so you don't have to worry about that. The other beauty is, say here now, you have 3 variations on that guitar. Yeah, so what you can do is you can just click on that and go, right, I want that variation there, click there, and I want that variation there, so it changes. Very easy. And again, if you're not happy with the speed, and then you can also sort them in different ways. You can look for like percussion. Okay, I want to find percussion. Yeah, that's nice. Just drop that in, copy that twice over. And the second one, let's do a different pattern on that. Yeah, I prefer the first one. Then you just do that and you copy it across. Again, perfect, easy. So you can also search by genre and by descriptions. That's it. Or say, for instance, if you wanted to find a percussion instrument by an electric percussion, you'll find all kinds of weird stuff. You can select different packs. You can import your own loop packs that will also show on here. You can then look just for a specific patch. It's very, very useful and very quick. And then the final icon here is the browser, and it will allow you to look in your project, in your media, or all your files. In all your files, you can drag any audio files that you've got, drag them straight into your arrangement, again in the same way as I just did. And then a few other things you'll need. Firstly, you'll need your tools. So for instance, you've played that, but you know what? This note here needs cutting. So you can select that there and you can say, right, I'm going to cut that and then I'm going to delete that. Just press and delete. I would leave that always on your pointer. And then this becomes your command tool, which when you press command, so if I set this on scissors and I press command and click, I get a cutter. So that's a really quick way to set up some tools that you really like. So in order for us to record, we need to quickly go to preferences and go to audio preferences. Now, if you have a sound card, you need to make sure that your sound card is set up in here. So my sound card is a Universal Audio Thunderbolt, so I would select that as my in and my out, and then I'd say apply. I won't do that now because it will mess up my recording, but that's what you would do. Then your in-out buffer size is something you need to look at as well. The faster your computer is, the lower the in-out buffer size, the better, because when you're playing your keyboard, there's no delay. So the higher this is, the more of a delay you get between pressing the key and hearing the sound. And the same goes for audio. If you're recording your audio into your computer, the last thing you want is to record and get a delay on that. By you setting this to really low, you get virtually no delay. It's literally so small that you probably wouldn't be able to tell. I keep mine at 32 until my computer struggles to process that data so quickly, and then I'll start moving up. And depending on what stage of my recording I am at, I sometimes end up being at 512 if I've got a very big arrangement with a lot of tracks. But that's in the future, but just remember you've got to keep an eye on that. Apart from that, everything will set itself up pretty much automatically. If you are going to record using a MIDI keyboard, it's most likely to be a USB one, and if so, that will pretty much usually just plug and play and will work straight away. Or if you are using MIDI, you can put it straight into your sound card, or you can get a MIDI to USB converter, which will also allow you to play from your keyboard. And that pretty much sets you up to start recording, so let's do that now. We have a 1-bar pre-count, so you go clean, 2, 3, 4, in, and I'm playing. Spacebar is stop, and then as we remember, we go over here and we can then look at those notes. And then finally, if you want to record an audio channel, you would create a new channel up here. And then you would say, right, an audio channel, and now I'm going to record. So you'd make sure that it's on input 1. Make sure your microphone or your guitar is plugged into your input channel 1 on your sound card. You do need a sound card to record into Logic. Press the R here to see the level of what your level's coming into Logic. And once you're happy with that, you just go up here and press record. And again, it's a 4-bar in, and I just go to record, and that's my voice. That's my voice. And that's how you record audio. Remember, before you go any further, to always save your project as, and save it somewhere where you know it's going to be. And then when you are saving it, there are options in here. And to start with, just start as package. So wherever you save it, you know you've got everything of that song in that one package. Once you get more advanced, the folder option is probably going to be more helpful for you, but for now, just use package. And that brings me to the end of this introduction to Logic Pro X. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm sure you've learned something. So please like, and if you can subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate that for the support. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.